What's up, everybody? It's the Roundtable Sports Podcast. Today, we're taking a look back at Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts and his top 50 plays for the 2020 season. And of course, Jonathan had a big rookie season. It was a little bit more up and down than I would have liked because of they kind of ramped up his usage as the year went along. And you could really tell that Indianapolis really started to come into their own once they started to use Jonathan Taylor in a more featured role. That seems to be the template as far as NFL running backs go when they first come into the league for some of these teams, is to ramp up their workload as the year goes along, as they get more comfortable. But I got to think that the Colts really saw that when he was in the game and when he was able to impact their offense, that they were really a lot better off and were a lot more continuous on offense when they were able to establish that, which of course is important for any NFL team, but especially for the Indianapolis Colts, the way that their talent was ferreted out in 2020. That was especially important for the offense to get Jonathan Taylor going and to get that other team thinking about the run game so they could complete their short passes and be able to flow in the passing game as well. The reason I make these videos is so that you can see what I'm seeing when I'm evaluating these players and when I'm, what the things that they're doing that are making me think the way that I think. And as you can see with Jonathan, he is a very fast man for a guy that weighs 220 pounds. I mean, you see plenty of foot speed and you see him able to run away from people, and that's why he had the second most breakout runs this year. And it's not just that he's fast, clearly. You can see the balance that he runs with. He always seems to, have his balance in check. And that leads to a certain amount of power that he's able to run with on top of the speed. So when you put that speed together with that amount of power and him, always keeping his legs going, you're going to have a lot of runs that turn into bigger runs, and you're going to turn the smaller runs into runs like this where you're using your power and you're able to run through arm tackles and you're able to get away from people with the speed. I mean, you see it when you see these different plays that, should the Colts be able to lean into the running game as they have in the past, that this is going to be a really good year for them if everything breaks right. And I think they've been putting themselves in position to do so this year. It wasn't egregious that the other team would put a lot of people in the box. It wasn't so bad. I mean, he wasn't just always up against an 8-man box, but Phillip Rivers didn't really back off the defense as much as you would like for a running team like this. Phillip was making good decisions and, really played as well as he really could have, but his lack of arm strength down the field really brought people closer than the line than it should have. I mean, certainly teams really had to worry about Jonathan, but should he have had a quarterback that was capable of throwing deep a little bit better, I think there would have been a little bit more success from the Indianapolis Colts because, like I said, there just wouldn't have been as many people at the line for Jonathan to run through. And even though he's absolutely capable of running through arm tackles, you want him to have as much space as possible to be able to do his thing. And clearly, if he gets behind the defense, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to be able to catch him in the first place. So now you throw on Carson Wentz, and I know that he had his struggles this last year, but I can tell you without any doubt that his arm strength, if Phillip Rivers was throwing 90, Carson Wentz is throwing 95. So there's going to be an appreciable difference in the arm strength of the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and I think, he should be able to back the defenses off a little bit better than Phillip could this year. And it's not like they're bereft of weapons outside of Jonathan. I like the way Michael Pittman looked. I like T.Y. Hilton coming back, Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle on top of that line. That's a really good offense, and that's a good situation for Jonathan because he needs drives to continue to push his rushing totals and his rushing attempts up. And if they're able to have more continuous drives and he's able to rush with fewer people in the box, that's going to lead to bigger scores and bigger numbers for him. So if you believe in Carson Wentz, as I do, and if you believe that the Colts are going to address their offensive line a little bit in the draft and the rest of the offseason, because they did lose Costanzo, they did lose LaRaven Clark, so we need to see an improvement on the edges. But if they can always move Quentin Griffin out there, and they've certainly got some time in the draft to get that done as well. So I'll be interested to see how that goes, because I'm interested to see Jonathan Taylor have everything around him that he needs to succeed, because I believe he possesses all the requisite skills to get the job done in the NFL. And like I said before, when they started leaning into Jonathan, when they started featuring him more, that's when they got dangerous in the second part of the year. And that's what really led them to be a quality playoff team, as quality as you would expect a 7th seed to really be in the NFL playoffs. That's what the Indianapolis Colts were, and a big reason for that was this man right here. And I hope today you saw the film, you saw kind of what I saw with the burst, with the strength, with the speed. I mean, all of these things that you'd want from a running back. As long as he can continue to hold on to the ball, the sky is the limit for this guy. And of course, I'll be drafting him in fantasy football as well. He's going to be a monster.